People, Deluded, I'm back again. Thank you very much for tuning back in. Now it's Monday. I'm about to go into work, but what was I going to say? We're about to play Manchester United in a few hours. I say a few. We kick off at 8 p.m. Sadly, I'm not going to be able to watch it. Well, I am of sorts, but I'm going to actually be working while it's on, which is quite sad for me. But hopefully the boys go on and do their thing. But there's been a couple things that I would like to speak about, to be fair with you. The first one is obviously... apparently, Arsenal want to send out Mesut Ozil on loan in January. The actual thing says, according to the Mirror, Arsenal want to loan out Ozil in January, even if they have to subsidise his wages. Arsenal would rather him go out on loan to another club and to go on loan and another club pay part of his wages rather than allow him to just sit on the bench or make the odd appearance. Now, there might be truth in it, but it just stinks of a slow news day from the Daily Mirror or whoever they are, and they're just inventing stuff. Now, again, there are legit reasons to this obviously has legs. Clearly, Arsenal want to move Ozil on, or in an ideal world, Emery or whoever would have liked to have moved Ozil on, got his wages off the books. Without going into detail, it hasn't happened, innit? Would it make sense to loan him out? I do not think so. We might as well ride with Ozil for the end of the season if we're not going to let him go outright. Yeah, if someone said they'll pay 50% of his wages, that's 150 knocked off. But we're midway through the season. Whether Ozil is marginalised or not, if we just look at the skill set of creative midfield players within our squad, it's Dani Ceballos, Mesut Ozil. You could probably throw Joe Willock into that if needs be. You could, at a push, say we're quite weak in terms of creative midfielders or creating these chances. So would it make sense to loan out Ozil or sell him and unless another one is going to come in? I don't think so, because we're midway through the season. We've got the squad now. Aaron Ramsey's left, Mkhitaryan is left, two players that can kind of play that role if Ozil was going to go. We're pressed for options. Joe Willock can do that, but it's silly to expect him to have the eye of the needle pass and do all of them sort of things, people. He can do a job, he does his thing. Personally, I prefer him deeper and whatnot, and he can do his thing. Ceballos can do his thing as well, but if he gets injured, we're pressed for options. If something happens to Joe, we're pressed for options. So unless Ozil is going to go permanently, or unless this did happen, we loan him out and there's another person of similar skill set, or in terms of what they try and do on the field, there's that. When I say creative midfield, I don't necessarily mean 10. I mean someone whose skill set is to try and break the lines and whatnot. Because I feel as a football club, we have an issue with that, to be fair with you, despite all the goals we're scoring, regardless of who's here or not. So I think it would be silly and it would kind of cripple us. And obviously, Ozil was a captain of sorts last season, so I don't want to read too much into it, but Mesut Ozil just been named one of the 5 captains by Emery. So would he want to depart with him in January, or is he going to ride for him for this season, potentially revisit getting him off the rage books next season? And obviously Ozil next summer will be in his last year of his contract in regards to the forthcoming season, which would be 2020-21. So I'm not too sure on that. On the topic of creative players and whatnot, I was going to do this in another video, people, but most chances created in the Premier League so far. This is obviously before we actually play Man United and whatnot. Ironically, there's no United or Arsenal players in this list, but most chances created, no surprise, Kevin De Bruyne is on 29. Trent Alexander-Arnold, an attacking fullback, 23. Gylfi Sigurdsson in a poor Everton side this season has created 20. Mahrez, who he was fantastic against Everton on the weekend, but I wouldn't say he's a first name on the team sheet as City sort of player, is there as well with 20. Pascal Gross on 17, Grealish of Villa 17, of Aston Villa, Jack Grealish on 17, along with Buendia and Lanzini of West Ham and Norwich respectively. Mason Mount and Dijon of Dijon, I can never say his name, of Everton are there. So you've got a Chelsea lad in Mount, you've got a Liverpool player, you've got a City player, you've got Grealish, who I'd describe as a key player for Villa, and obviously the same could apply to Gross. Buendia, I wouldn't necessarily attribute his skill set to creating chances, but he's a decent player. I think him and more so McGinn can get moves, because I've seen McGinn a bit more. But it is sad how there's no Arsenal player in that, people. We're Arsenal Football Club. We know we're not playing the most expensive of football, but we should be in there, and United's not there as well. United should have players in that list. Again, I don't know what counts as chances and what not. We all know stats can be taken out of context, but I just thought, because I'm speaking about creative players, I would actually mention that. Now, on to Aubameyang, people, and he's offered some few notes in regards to Xhaka becoming captain. He said, he's an important guy in the club. He's someone who everyone can learn from. He's a strong guy. He's the captain because he deserves it. And then he's gone on to say, I feel that we can win something in this club and we will try. Now's the time to win trophies. I'm sure we can do it. And I'm honestly happy to be here. I feel very good now. Again, I don't want to read too much into the last statement, but if he's comfortable and he's happy to be here and he believes it's the time to win trophies, considering his age as well, does that mean you're going to extend your contract here, big man? Because Lacazette and Aubameyang, a decision is going to have to be made potentially, people. You look at it, potentially Lacazette or one of them could leave if they do not sign new deals. I know both of them want to play Champions League football. I personally, this isn't me with any knowledge or anything, I feel Aubameyang is more likely to stay than Lacazette purely because Aubameyang's not been there and done it, but he's a couple years older than Lacazette. If he can get a decent contract in terms of big contract and getting paid fairly commendable in his last sort of big contract in his career, if he signs a new deal, that will be good. He's loved by fans, not that it means anything. You know he loves the London lifestyle and he's very comfortable here with the teammates and he's adored and whatnot. So he's comfortable. He's obviously, I think it will take a lot for Aubameyang to leave. I feel Lacazette, it will take a lot, but I feel he is more open to leaving personally because I look at the French squad, I see him linked with Barca and these clubs there. I mean, if you go to one of these clubs, you're playing Champions League and there's even more pressure on Deschamps to not ignore you because there's the Euros coming. Obviously, he'll probably miss that Euros because he won't leave in January. But there's a lot to consider. Does he want to get into the French squad? Because he's going to miss out on, probably going to miss out on Euro 2020. I hope not. Does he want to get into the French squad beyond that? Does he want to play Champions League football? Does he believe he's wasting his peak years here? Because he's in his peak powers, people of sorts. So is Aubameyang, but you get the point. He's not played Champions League football at this club yet. And does he honestly believe he can win trophies here? Again, I don't feel Barca will move from him again. But if you're linked with Barca, with a club like Atletico Madrid, with Simeone and every other club, it is tempting to think of moving. I mean, you know, PSG wanted him before he moved to obviously Arsenal. You could see someone like PSG going for him and just letting him control the bench or being around it, in and around that, and that might be something he considers, people, because I think he's got a lot to consider. I really think he wants to get into the French squad. So we'll see how that one develops, people. In regards to Xhaka being the captain, and we'll never know if Aubameyang truly believes that. I'm not going to be cynical. I do believe he does, but you never know we'll never know what these players do truly feel. I'd love to know if players genuinely believe Xhaka should be captain. They believe he shouldn't. They believe it should have been a next man. We'll never know. But I do think these boys are professional and they'll get behind Xhaka and whatever the captain says goes, sort of thing, beyond the manager. I was going to do this in another vid, but we might as well mention it. And just to play devil's advocate, now I know you've all seen Leicester. They're third right now. They're having a good season. It doesn't matter where you are at the end of September. It matters where you are at the end of May. Twists and turns are going to happen to many teams, same as Leicester. But they've started very well, people. Brendan Rodgers joined them in February last year. His first full campaign. They've beaten Man United or so. They beat someone big. They've got one of the best home forms so far in the season. Vardy just seems to keep scoring goals. They're playing good football. Brendan Rodgers is doing his thing. I wouldn't say they're playing expansive football, but they're definitely playing forward-thinking football. And it's not taking him long to kind of input his footprint. It doesn't matter if he's utilising players that was already there, players he's brought in. Do you get it, people? Guys like Hamza Chudway and Chilwell and them man there, Maddison to a fair degree. He's getting the best out of Maddison, and kind of, you hear how Maddison speaks about how Rodgers used Coutinho and things. So he's getting them playing well. He's improving players. He's put his footballing imprint very quickly into that, people. Very into the club. And then, not to play devil's advocate, but you look at Emery, we're still here saying it's not his team. He needs time. He's got younger players. Yeah, he does have younger players to a fair degree, slightly more naive players. Because if you look at Leicester's side, you'd say they're probably, it's close, but I think they have a more experienced side, if not necessarily through age, through just experience. We've got Saka, who is their equivalent young player, people. They've got way more experienced players. Maddison, Chilwell, they've played significant times. Hamza Chudway's played a fair amount of times. Ndidi, Pereira, obviously Wes Morgan when he plays, Schmeichel. They've got experienced players, people. And they're really playing for Rodgers and whatnot, man. And they're doing their thing. He's revitalising players. He's finding players to come in. Look at Sionchu. He's got him playing well. Wasn't really used last season. It's not taking him long. So why is it taking Emery so long to really have a footballing imprint? Because we're still here and and ahhing. I hope we win tonight, and that might be a long way in kind of showing people what he's trying to do. But you look at Brendan Rodgers, he's taken a matter of moments to do that at that team there. Do you get it, people? And for Rodgers, personally, I didn't want him as Arsenal manager. I must admit, if Emery leaves tomorrow, I will be more open to entertaining the answer. My personal opinion is I think Rodgers is a good manager, a good coach. Clearly he's a good coach. I just have one, there's just something I can't really put my finger on that doesn't really want me, that doesn't seem convinced. And two, it's how he deals with big players as well. Obviously, people would struggle with Balotelli, but how he deals with big characters, there's no smoke without fire. I look at several players, mainly Dembele and Sterling, and how he can... He's a good coach, but in terms of man management and that sort of arm around the shoulder, to a degree, I think he's breeding mixed results, people. I do like Rodgers, he's doing his thing. So I thought I would mention that. But I've got nothing else to say, really and truly, people. So I'm going to get out of your hair. Thank you for praying, people. Let me just check. I've got nothing, people. I've really got nothing else to say. My other statistics are Spurs' Ndombele scored more goals in the Premier League in 5 games for Spurs, which is 2 more than which is more than he made in 69 appearances for Amiens and Lyon combined, people. Raheem Sterling's obviously hit 100 goals in all competitions, 100 club goals in all competitions now, people. 23 for Liverpool and 77 for Manchester City. So you'd probably back him to reach 100 goals in all comps for Liverpool alone. I mean, for City alone by the end of the season, surely, or if not that quickly into next season. So it's good for Sterling, man. He's becoming prolific and things like that, man. It's very nice from him. But in terms of actual significance and things to sit here and talk about even more, people, I don't think I have anything else to add to you guys, for you guys. So I'm just going to keep it moving. Yep, I've checked my notes. There's not anything to add. So people, Deluded, thank you for watching and rocking. Out.